Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, welcome back to lecture number 26 of macroeconomic course. As you know that in the first part we try to revise what we have learned in the previous lecture, and then we'll move for today's class. So if as you remember, so we have discussed something about the investment, types of investment, and the factors which can possibly shift the investment function, and the policies की हमने बात की कि what are the policies adopted by the government that can affect the level of investment in the countries and the economies. In the last lecture we started to discuss the Tobins Q. James Tobin, basically, as I told you that he was a Nobel laureate in economics. He got a Nobel Prize, and he gave this formula of Tobin Q. So that is basically to compare the value of market value of stock of capital available in the economy with the replacement cost of the installed capital, and calculate the value, and we see whether to increase the level of investment in the country and the economy, or not increase the level of investment in the country and the economy. So he basically gave this formula. He said that if Q is greater than 1, so what it means that capital, the firms will like to buy more capital, like to invest more in the country and the economy. If Q is less than 1, the firm, the level of market value of capital will be low, the firm will have less capital, so they can't do more investment in the country. Then after that we have compared the new classical theory and Tobin's Q theory, and then come up with this decision about the investment. We said that according to classical theory, as we discussed in the previous lectures, हमें मालूम है कि in classical theory we compare the marginal productivity of capital, which is the benefit of the capital, capital, and the cost of capital, and we can calculate the profit rate of the firms. Now profit rate is equal to marginal productivity of capital minus cost of capital. If that profit is positive, it means marginal productivity is greater than the cost of capital, then this will help to get high value of Tobin's Q. So we can say that the as per new classical theory, if profit rate is positive, if profit rate is high, then the Q value will be high. When Q value will be high, so then of course the investment will be high in the country and the economy. If profit rate is low, in other words marginal productivity is less than the cost of capital, then the Q value will be low, Q value will be less, right? So we said that there is a direct relationship between the new classical theory and Tobin's theory, the profit rate of firms with the Tobin's Q value and the level of investment. After that, हमने पिछले लेक्चर में बात की, we have tried to discuss the relationship between stock market and GDP. Why there is a relationship, why we say that there is a relationship between stock market and the gross domestic product of an economy. We said that these two variables have a direct relationship. Now if stock market is growing, if the stock prices are going up, so what will happen? Stock market goes up, this will give an incentive to the firm to produce more, to supply more, to invest more in the projects, right? तो जब स्टॉक मार्केट की प्राइसेस बढ़ेगी तो इन्वेस्टमेंट ज़्यादा होगी. इफ स्टॉक मार्केट प्राइसेस goes down, the level of investment will also go down. So the relationship between stock market prices and the level of investment is positive. यानी कि स्टॉक मार्केट की प्राइस बढ़ने से इन्वेस्टमेंट में इजाफा होगा. इन्वेस्टमेंट में जब इजाफा होता है तो उससे आउटपुट और रियल जीडीपी में इजाफा होगा. तो इसके बाद हमने इसी चीज को एक्सप्लेन किया पिछले लेक्चर में. वी एक्सप्लेन द सेम थिंग विद द हेल्प ऑफ a graph. So where we have a graph of fluctuation in the stock market prices and real GDP over the number of years, and we have seen that, we have observed that both of these two variables move in the same direction, right? So whenever stock prices goes up, the value of stock market goes up, the level of real GDP also goes up. So in most of the years there is a positive relationship, except few exceptions. So after that we have discussed the second type of investment, which is the residential investment, IH. So we said that residential investment depend on the relative price of housing, which is PH over P, right? PH over P is determine the market supply, or the supply of determined by the market supply of housing and demand for housing, which is determined in the market of housing with the help of supply and demand of housing, and which in turn determine the level of investment or residential investment in the country and the economy. We said that the supply of housing is fixed. We have a vertical supply curve, and the demand for housing is negative, where we have a negative demand curve. Both curve interact with each other, intersect with each other at some point, and that determines the equilibrium level of relative prices of housing, which in turn determine the level of residential investment in the country and the economy. And with this relationship, we have determined the relative supply of housing, and where we have seen that the relative prices are positively correlated with the supply of housing or the residential investment. If relative prices of housing goes up, supply of housing will go down. If relative prices goes down, then supply will go down, and residential investment also goes down, right? So after that we have discussed the tax treatment for residential investment. हमने ये कहा government provide a kind of subsidy in the form of deduction in mortgage interest rate, right? So that subsidy basically helps and motivates the firms to increase the funding, to increase the investment in residential sector. And if the government or the policymaker want to stop that deduction in mortgage interest rate, this would be politically difficult, because this there will be pressure put by the government, by the people, by the household, by the resident of the country on the government, and then they don't let them do, right? So we have then we have discussed the last part, which was the inventory investment. Inventory investment की जब हमने बात की, हमने ये कहा inventory investment basically is the that depends on basically what is the level of output in the economy, what is the level of output produced in the country and the economy. We said that inventory investment is a proportion, which is delta n, is a proportion to change in the level of output. If level of output goes up, inventory investment will also go up. If level of output goes down, inventory investment will go down. After that we have discussed what are the motives, what are the purposes of holding inventories, why firms hold inventories. So we have discussed different purposes, different motives. उसके बाद की हमने कहा कि बाज़ औक़ात production sales कम होती है, production ज़्यादा होती है, तो smooth, in order to keep their production smooth, firm want to hold inventories. कैसे कि जब सेल्स ज़्यादा हों प्रोडक्शन से तो क्या होता है, इन्वेंट्रीज में कमी वाक़ हो जाती है. जो इन्वेंट्रीज में स्टॉक होता है उसको वो यूज़ कर सकते हैं टू फिल दैट गैप. और अगर सेल्स कम हों प्रोडक्शन से, राइट, प्रोडक्शन ज़्यादा है सेल्स कम है, तो वो जो दे कैन बिल्ड अप द इन्वेंट्रीज, राइट. सो दिस इज़ हाउ and that is used when there is some slowdown in the production sales process. So production को स्मूथ करने के लिए भी करते हैं. And sometimes there is another motive that people expect that कि इतनी सेल्स होंगी, अगर वो उतनी सेल्स नहीं होती, प्रोडक्शन में कमी वाक़ हो जाए, सेल्स में कमी वाक़ हो जाती है, तो वो स्टॉक में इजाफा हो जाता है, राइट. So these are some of the motives. After that we have discussed accelerator theory. Accelerator theory और मॉडल की हमने बात की, जिसमें according to that theory inventories are built up without any motive, without any purpose, and we said that inventories are proportional to the level of output. Whenever there is change in the level of output, this will affect the inventory investment in the country and the economy, right. तो उस मॉडल को एक्सप्लेन किया, and we tried to explain the level of inventory investment in the country and the society. उसके बाद लास्ट पे हमने जो बात की थी पिछले लेक्चर में, we tried to link up the inventory investment with the interest rate. कि इंटरेस्ट रेट में जब कमी बेशी वाक़ होती है, how inventory investment responds, right. तो we have seen that there is an inverse relationship between the inventory investment and the rate of interest. दोनों के दरमियान उल्टा और नेगेटिव रिलेशनशिप होता है कि जब रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट बढ़ता है तो इन्वेस्टमेंट में कमी वाक़ होती है, इन्वेस्टमेंट में कमी वाक़ होगी, आउटपुट में कमी वाक़ होगी, जब आउटपुट में कमी वाक़ होगी तो नेचुरली इन्वेंट्री होल्डिंग और इन्वेंट्री इन्वेस्टमेंट में भी कमी वाक़ हो जाएगी, एंड वाइस वर्सा. And at the end we summarized, we said that we have discussed three types of investment. तीन types की हमने बात की, तीन तरह के investment का हमने जिक्र किया, और हमने ये कहा कि in all types of investment जिनकी हमने बात की है, all investments are negatively related with the rate of interest. And if we talk about the total investment, which is the composition of business fixed investment, residential investment, plus the inventory investment, that is also, total investment is also negatively related or correlated with the rate of interest. And we have a negatively sloped investment function curve, right. So this was all about the previous lecture. So we have tried to learn, to understand the concept of investment in the previous two lectures, and types of investment, the investment functions, and we've also discussed the factors which are the possible cause, or the reasons, or the factors that can shift the investment function curve. And we have also discussed the different policies of the government, adopted by the government, that can alter the level of investment in the country and the economy. So this was all about what we have learned in previous lecture, and specifically in the investment chapter. Now we'll move to the next topic of discussion, which is a very, very important concept in macroeconomics, and here we are going to talk about the money supply and money demand. So we have I have divided this chapter into two lectures. कुछ हिस्सा आज हम पढ़ेंगे इस चैप्टर का, और कुछ हिस्सा जो है इसको कंप्लीट करेंगे बाकी हिस्से के साथ अगली क्लास में इंशाल्लाह. तो द चैप्टर अबाउट मनी सप्लाई एंड डिमांड इज डिवाइडेड इनटू टू लेक्चर्स. आधे हिस्से पे आज बात करेंगे, आधे हिस्से पे नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में हम बात करेंगे. So what we are going to learn in today's class, what are the contents that we are going to study today, is about we are going to discuss about the money supply. What is money supply, what are the function of money supply, and how banking systems create money supply or money in the country and the economy. तो इस पे आज हम बात करेंगे कि किस तरह से मनी सप्लाई को क्रिएट किया जाता है, किस तरह से मनी सप्लाई बढ़ाई जाती है, किस तरह से मनी सप्लाई कम की जाती है. तो आज का लेक्चर जितना भी है उस पे हम बात करेंगे मनी सप्लाई की. Before we move to the money supply, we need to discuss the money. What is money? Basically, money is the stock of assets available in the economy, right? So there are different definitions given by different economists regarding money. So we have three definitions of money: M1, which are known as M1, M2, and M3. right? So each definition is different in terms of deposits, right? So we include certain deposits in M1, we add up some more deposits, kind of deposit in M2 and M3, so that we have already discussed in the previous one of the previous lectures. Also, before going to money supply, to discuss money supply or how banks create money supply in the country and the economy, it is important to discuss the functions of money. As we said that in one of the previous lecture, हमने बात की थी कि there are three main or important function of money. Money is used as a store of value, money is used as a medium of exchange, money is used as the unit of account, right? So what we mean by store of value? But you can store asset, you can store things by using money. Number two, money can be used as a medium of exchange, right? When you want to exchange goods and services within the country, or when you want to exchange goods and services between the countries, between the two boundaries, between the two economies, we use money as a medium of exchange. Third important function of money is that money is used as a unit of account, right? So we can convert different currencies by using money into the domestic currency. Like if we talk about exchange rate between Pakistan rupees and dollar, so $1 is equal to 97 rupees. So we can use money as a unit of account. So money has three important functions in an economy, which are store of value, medium of exchange, and unit of account. So money has three important function, जिसकी हमने बात की और already हम इसको डिटेल में डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. Now we come to the money supply. What is we mean by money supply? इसके बारे में हमने already एक theory discuss की थी कि money supply is very important tool of the government, and which is known as the monetary policy of the country, and that is basically adopted, or the money supply is controlled by the federal bank, or here in case of Pakistan it is known as the State Bank of Pakistan. In case of USA it is known as the Fed. So Fed is the institution that has the control over the money supply in the country. Now what is the role of banks in the money supply? That we are going to discuss now in today's class, after knowing what is money, what is its function. And now we'll come to today's scope of the lecture, which is about what kind of role bank can play in the money supply, how banks create or increase the money supply in the economy. As we know that money supply is equal to the currency plus demand deposit, within bracket, that is the checking accounts. Now we can define money supply in the country and economy. It has two components, it has two parts. One is the currency in circulation, available number of notes in circulation in the country and the economy, plus demand deposits, right? So money has two components, currency plus demand deposits. Since the money supply includes demand deposits, the banking system play important role, right? So as we said that money supply has two components. One component is the currency in circulation, the other is the demand deposits. Since money supply includes the demand deposits in its definition as a component in it, then we can say that banks in the country and the economy can play a very important role to create money supply, to increase or decrease money supply in the country and the economy. Before we proceed, there are a few preliminaries that we need to look into. What are those? Reserves. We denote reserves with capital R. It is the portion of the deposits that banks have not lent, right? So if we talk about the central bank, if we talk about the commercial banks which are controlled by the central bank, each of the bank keep certain proportion of the deposit as a reserve with themselves, right? So they do not lend all of the deposits they do not give loan to the people all of their deposits. They keep certain proportion of the deposit with themselves as the reserves, right? So the portion of funds or deposits that banks keeps or have with themselves are the banks that the banks which have not lended to the people is known as the reserve, and we denote reserves by R with R. To a bank, liabilities includes deposits, assets includes reserves and outstanding loans. Now if we talk about a particular bank, on one side bank has liabilities, on the other side bank has an assets. So what we mean by liabilities? Liabilities of the banks includes all kinds of deposits with the bank are known as the liabilities. Assets includes the reserves with the bank plus loan that the bank has extended to the people of the country or to in the economy, right? So if we talk about a particular bank, उसके पास दो चीजें होती हैं. On one side they have liabilities in the form of deposits that include deposits. On the other side they have assets that include reserves and outstanding loan. Now 100% reserve banking and fractional reserve banking में क्या फर्क है? So there are two sorts of banking जिसकी हम अब बात करना चाहेंगे. One is the 100% reserve banking. The other is fractional reserve banking. What is 100% reserve banking? It is a system in which banks hold all of deposits as the reserves, right? जितने भी उनके पास deposits आते हैं तमाम के तमाम को वो as a reserve रख लेते हैं अपने पास. They do not extend loan to the individual, to the household, right, to the customers, right? That is known as the 100% reserve banking. The other sort of banking is the fractional reserve banking. It is a system in which bank hold a fraction of the deposit as a reserve and extend the remaining deposits to the customers as a loan, right? So we can differentiate the two systems of banking. One is the 100% reserve banking system, the other is fractional reserve banking. 100% reserve bank system is that in which it is a system in which banks hold 100% of deposit as reserves. The fractional reserve banking system is a system in which banks hold a fraction of their deposits as a reserves and extend the remaining deposits to the customer as a loan. We will discuss different scenarios and try to see how banks create money supply in the country, in the economy, how they increase the level of money supply in the country, in the economy, right? So in this case, in this context, हम बहुत सारे scenarios देखेंगे और देखेंगे कि how they are creating, how they are participating in creating money supply in the country, in the economy. Scenario 1, when there is no bank, what is the situation? With no banks, D, which is the demand deposit, is equal to 0. Of course, since there is no bank, we can say that D is equal to 0 and M is equal to the currency, which is 100, because as we know that, as just we said that previous slide में अभी हमने कहा कि M is equal to currency plus demand deposits. Since there is no bank, when there is no bank, this implies that D is equal to 0. When D is equal to 0, then M is equal to C, which is M is equal to C, and which is equal to, suppose it is equal to $1,000, right? So with no banks, D will be 0 and C will be equal to the money supply in the country and the economy. Scenario 2, 100% reserve banking. Now we will come to the discuss two systems of the banking and see how they will create money supply in the economy, whether they create money supply in the economy or they don't create money supply in the country and the economy. Scenario 2, we'll talk about 100% reserve banking. as we said that initially C is equal to 1000 US dollar and D is $0 initially, of course, and in that case money supply is 1000 US dollar when there is no bank in the country, in the society, in the economy. Now suppose household deposits $100 at the first bank. So what will happen if suppose household deposit that money or that currency which he has with himself, अगर वो पैसा ये बैंक में जमा करा देता है, पहले बैंक में, फर्स्ट बैंक में जमा कराता है, तो उसकी बैलेंस शीट क्या होगी? The balance sheet of the first bank will be, if you look at the balance sheet, as I told you that in bank it has two sides, balance sheet has two sides, assets and liabilities. Now assets are the reserves and liabilities are the deposits. Now how much is the deposit here जिसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं? 1000 US dollar. Liabilities क्या है? Assets क्या है? 1000 US dollar. After the deposits, currency will be 0, deposits will be 1000, money supply will be 1000 US dollar. 100% reserves, because we are talking about 100% reserve banking system. 100% reserve bank has no impact on the size of money supply. Since we are talking about the system of bank in which it is 100% reserve banking system, since all of the deposits are in the form of money supply, which is 1000 US dollar, so 100% reserve bank system has no impact on the size of money supply, as we have seen from the first bank balance sheet, where assets are equal to the liabilities. Now we'll move to the third scenario number 3, where we are going to discuss talk about the second banking system, जिसकी हमने बात की अभी पिछली slides में, and that is the fractional reserve banking. What is fractional reserve banking? We said that fractional reserve banking ऐसा banking system है जिसके तहत हर बैंक डिपॉजिट्स का कुछ हिस्सा अपने पास एज ए रिजर्व रख लेता है और बाकी की जो अमाउंट है दे lend that amount to the household, to the customers. Suppose banks hold, here we suppose that in scenario 3, under this fractional reserve system, we suppose that if bank hold 20% of the deposit in reserves, अगर 20% हिस्सा deposits का as a reserve रखते हैं, making loans with the rest, and the remaining amount they will extend that those deposits with loans, first bank will make $800 in loans, right? क्योंकि 1000 का 20% कितना बनेगा? $200. $200 जैसे कि हमने कहा कि 20% वो अपने पास रिजर्व रख लेता है और रिमेनिंग जो उसके पास बचते हैं वो लोन के तौर पे दे देता है अपने कस्टमर्स को. Now the 20% of 1000 is $200, or the amount left with the bank to extend loan to the customer is $800 US. Now how the balance sheet of the customers looks like, so the balance sheet of the bank look like? The balance sheet of first bank will be, now why we call it first bank? Because we are talking about another system, right? We are talking about the fractional reserve banking system, और इसमें हम देख रहे हैं कि first bank की balance sheet क्या होगी, right? Now as we know that on balance sheet, on one side we have assets, on the other side we have liabilities. Now as far as assets is concerned, जैसा कि मैंने बताया कि assets reserve और loans पे मुश्तमिल होता है. अब जैसा कि हमने कहा कि 20% बैंक जो अपने पास रिजर्व रख लेता है जो कि $200 है, लोन कितने एक्सटेंड करता है? $800 US है. नाउ द डिपॉजिट्स टोटल कितने, लायबिलिटीज बैंक की कितनी है, बैंक में पैसे कितने जमा हुए, वो $1000 है. नाउ द मनी सप्लाई नाउ इक्वल्स, हाउ मच इज द मनी सप्लाई इन द कंट्री? रिमेंबर जो डिपॉजिट्स टोटल 1000 है वो क्या है? दैट इज द करेंसी आल्सो अवेलेबल, दैट इज आल्सो द मनी सप्लाई. Now 800 बैंक ने फिर उसमें से लोन दे दिए, तो total money supply in the economy will be 1000 plus 800, that is 1800 US dollar. Now depositor still has 1000 in demand deposits, but now the borrower holds 800 US dollar in the currency, right? So the total money supply, the depositor still has, depositor जो लोगों ने जिन्हें पैसे जमा कराए उनके पास तो अभी 1000 रुपया है, 1000 डॉलर है, but at the same time borrower holds 800 डॉलर in currency. borrower के पास 800 डॉलर है, डिपॉजिटर के पास 1000 डॉलर है. अब इन दोनों को अगर जमा कर ले, 1000 जो डिपॉजिटर के पास है, 800 जो borrower के पास है, if you add up these two, this will give us the money supply in the country, in the economy. That would be 1800 US dollar now. Now thus in a fractional reserve banking system, banks create money supply. Now if we compare these two systems जिनकी हमने अभी बात की है, the 100% reserve banking system, the fractional reserve banking system. 100% bank reserve system creates no money supply in the country, in the economy. However, as just we have seen that the fractional reserve banking system creates money supply or create money in the economy, in the country. Now we'll continue this fractional reserve banking system. अब now suppose जो borrower है जिसके पास deposits आए हैं, borrower deposits are 800 डॉलर in the second bank. अब borrower क्या करता है कि वो जो 800 डॉलर उसने कर्जा लिया था फर्स्ट बैंक से, जो लोन लिया था, वो क्या करता है, वो किसी एक दूसरे बैंक में, सेकंड बैंक में जमा करा देता है, राइट? सो द borrower deposit his loan to another bank, so which become the deposits of the borrowers, which are deposited in the second bank. Now what will happen? The initial second bank balance sheet is, again balance sheet has two sides, assets and liabilities. On assets, now 20% of 800, which are the deposits in the second bank, is $160, are the reserve which the bank keep with itself, and extend loan equal to the tune of 640 US dollar. Now the total liabilities of the second bank are 800 US dollar. But then second bank will loan 80% of this deposit and its balance sheet will look like this. Now when second bank extend 80% of the deposits which is 800 US dollar, which are 800 US dollar, if 80% of this amount, अगर वो बैंक जो दूसरा बैंक है 80% इसका लोन एक्सटेंड करता है, तो सेकंड बैंक की बैलेंस शीट क्या होगी? Now the balance sheet of the second bank looks like this one. $160 reserve, $640 loans, and deposit is equal to, which is the liabilities are $800. Now we'll come to scenario, we'll continue with the same scenario and discuss further, extend this fractional reserve banking system furthermore. If this $640 is eventually deposited in third bank. अब जो हमने ये कहा कि सेकंड बैंक में जो borrower था उसने अपने किसी सेकंड बैंक में जमा कराए पैसे, 800 डॉलर उसने जमा कराए. अब सेकंड बैंक ने क्या किया, because we are discussing the fractional reserve banking system. What is that? कि बैंक keep a certain proportion or fraction of the deposits as a reserve with itself, right? And that is the 20%. अब second bank ने क्या किया कि उसको 20% अपने पास रख लिया, that as a reserve, which is $160, 640 आगे लोन दे दिया borrower को. अब borrower जो second borrower है वो क्या करता है, $640 को, he bring that money which is $640 which he borrowed from the bank, he put it to a third bank, right? He deposit that money into a third bank. Then the third bank will keep 20% of this deposit. Now ये जो $640 है इसका 20% कितना बनेगा? The 20% of $640 is almost $128 as a reserve. The third bank will keep $128 as a reserve of $640, and extend loan equal to the tune of $512, which is 80% of the reserves, 80% of the deposits. The total liabilities of the third bank are $640. Now finding the total amount of money which is created, which is supplied in the market, in the economy by different banks. Original deposit were $1000. फर्स्ट बैंक ने लैंडिंग कितनी की? $800 की। सेकंड बैंक ने लैंडिंग कितनी की? जैसा कि अभी हमने देखा पिछली स्लाइडों में सेकंड बैंक ने कितनी लोन एक्सटेंड किया? $640 का। थर्ड बैंक ने कितना लोन एक्सटेंड किया? $512 एंड अदर लैंडिंग्स यू विल कंटिन्यू, राइट? जब एक बारोवर पैसे लेता है किसी बैंक से एज ए लोन, तो वो किसी दूसरे बैंक में जाके उसको जमा कराता है एंड देन यू स्टार्ट यूटिलाइजिंग दैट मनी. सो दैट मनी जो बारोवर ने एज ए लोन किसी बैंक से लिया था, दैट विल बिकम डिपॉजिट इन अदर बैंक. किसी दूसरे बैंक के डिपॉजिट बन जाते हैं. अब वो बैंक क्या करता है, उसका सर्टेन प्रोपोर्शन फ्रैक्शन अपने पास एज ए रिजर्व रख लेता है और फर्दर उसमें से बाकी अमाउंट पे लोन एक्सटेंड कर देता है. तो दिस प्रोसेस कंटिन्यू एंड दिस इज हाउ द फ्रैक्शनल reserve banking system creates money or money supply in the country, in the economy, in the society. Now the total money supply will be equal to 1 over RR into 1000. What is RR? RR is the ratio of the reserves to deposits, right? So in our example, ratio of reserves to the deposit is 0.2. So M is equal to $5,000. So we can calculate this, as we said that total money supply is equal to 1 over RR into 1000. RR is 0.2 multiplied by $1,000. Now if we simplify this, 10, 5, that is equal to $5,000. Now हमारे पास इनिशियल करेंसी कितनी थी, मनी सप्लाई कितनी थी? $1000, राइट? नाउ $1000 ने कितनी मनी सप्लाई क्रिएट की? हाउ मच मनी सप्लाई वाज क्रिएटेड बाय यूजिंग $1000? $5,000 की मनी सप्लाई क्रिएट की गई, राइट? सो कैसे की गई? बाय यूजिंग द फ्रैक्शनल रिजर्व बैंक सिस्टम. के जब वो $1000 जो कस्टमर है, हाउस होल्ड है, उसने जमा कराया विद बैंक, बैंक ने क्या किया, उसके सर्टेन प्रोपोर्शन अपने पास रख लिया एज ए रिजर्व विच इज 20% और रिमेनिंग अमाउंट को लोन एक्सटेंड कर दिया टू द हाउस होल्ड, टू द कस्टमर. अब what the borrower has done with that money, वो लेके किसी और बैंक में उसने जमा करा दी. उस बैंक ने क्या किया, उसका 20% अपने पास रख लिया, बाकी का 80% लोन दे दिया. बारोवर जो था, नेक्स्ट बारोवर जो था जिसने लोन लिया, वो किसी तीसरे बैंक में जाके पैसे लगा. दिस इज हाउ दैट द करेंसी और द इनिशियल मनी सप्लाई creates or increase the money supply in the country, the currency in the country by multiplier effect. यानी कि $1000 से हमने $5000 की मनी सप्लाई क्रिएट की अभी प्रेजेंट एग्जांपल में. This is how banks can play an important role. ये हम कह सकते हैं कि banks are very important and crucial to create money or to create money supply in the country, in the economy. So money creation in the banking system. A fractional reserve banking system creates money, but it does not create wealth. But of course there is a criticism on that. So a fractional reserve banking system creates money supply in the country, in the economy, but it does not create wealth, because banks loans give borrowers some new money and equal amount of new debt. ठीक है, क्योंकि देखा कि हमने एग्जाम्पल में ये देखा है कि जब किसी बैंक के पास डिपॉजिट्स होते हैं तो उसका कुछ हिस्सा वो अपने पास रख लेते हैं, बाकी वो लोन दे देते हैं. जो बारोवर है वो उस पे एक लोन का, डेट का उसके ऊपर बर्डन हो जाता है, राइट? यानी कि वो 800 अगर उसने डॉलर कर्जा लिया है तो 800 का उस पर बर्डन हो जाता है, राइट? तो उसको फिर आगे वो यूटिलाइज करता है, किसी बैंक में रखता है, इन्वेस्टमेंट में लगाता है. बट एट द सेम टाइम दैट बारोवर हैज टू रीपे दैट लोन टू द बैंक. आफ्टर सर्टेन टाइम पीरियड, राइट. उसने इंस्टॉलमेंट कराई होंगी, जो भी कराया होगा, जिस सिस्टम के तहत लोन लिया होगा, बट ही और शी हैज टू रीपे दैट लोन back to the bank, right? So we can say that a fractional reserve bank system creates money supply in the country, but it does not create wealth, because banks loan give borrowers some new money and an equal amount of new debt also. Now I will discuss the model of money supply in detail. We'll talk about certain exogenous variables which we consider are given. First exogenous variable is the monetary base, B. Monetary base is the level of money as currency available in the country, and this is monetary base is controlled by the central bank of a country. In case of Pakistan, that monetary base is controlled or fixed by the Central Bank of Pakistan or the State Bank of Pakistan. Monetary base B is equal to currency plus reserves. Second, जिस वेरिएबल की हम बात करने जा रहे हैं in money supply model is the reserve deposit ratio, RRR, which is equal to reserves divided by demand deposits, right? If you divide the reserve with demand deposits, this will give us the required reserve deposit ratio, and it depends on the rules and regulation of the banks, right? So how much banks keep with themselves as reserves of their deposits, it varies from bank to bank. It varies from central bank according to central bank policies, right? How central bank, what are the policies of central bank, how much commercial bank can keep and the required reserve with themselves, it depends on the regulations, it depends on the laws, it depends on the policies of the banks. So sometime they increase this reserve deposit ratio, sometimes they decrease this reserve deposit ratio. It depends on the policy which the banks are going to follow. The third variable जिसकी हम बात करेंगे, it is currency demand ratio, CR. Currency demand ratio, CR is equal to currency over demand deposits. It depends on household preferences, right? How? Because how it is up to the decision of the household or the individual how much money they want to keep with themselves, how much money they want to are demanding for their needs and necessities, right? And how much money they put in the bank as a deposits, right? So it depends on the preferences. What are the preferences of the household? If they prefer to hold more money, to hold more deposit with themselves, of course the currency deposit ratio will be low, right? So it depends on the preferences of the household. So तीन variables की हमने बात की जिनको लेके हम इस मॉडल को explain करेंगे, मनी सप्लाई के मॉडल को. पहला वेरिएबल क्या है? Monetary base, which is equal to currency plus reserves. Reserve deposit ratio, RRR, R over D. It depends on the regulations of the banks. Third variable जिसकी हमने बात की, that is the currency reserve deposit ratio, CR, that is equal to C over D, and it depends on the preferences of the household. Now we solve this for by using these variables. We try to come up with the money supply equation. M, as we know that M is equal to C, currency plus deposits, is C plus D. If we multiply this on the right side of the equation by B and divide by B, we get C plus D over B into B. Now if we substitute C plus D over B is equal to small m, then we can write this equation M is equal to small m into B, right? Now M is equal to C plus D over B, and as we know that M B किस चीज के बराबर है? Currency plus reserves, right? So we just substitute the value B की जगह उसकी value रख दें इस equation में. If we substitute the value of यहाँ पे जो आप देख रहे हैं, ये जो B है, m इज इक्वल टू सी प्लस डी ओवर बी, तो इस m की b की जगह पे इसकी वैल्यू रखेंगे c प्लस d over c plus r, right? Now this will be equal to, if we divide the numerator and denominator by d, so what we get? c over d plus d over d, c over d plus r over d. So this will be equal to cr, as we know that c over d is currency deposit ratio, cr, plus d over d 1, c over d cr, plus r over d is reserve deposit ratio, plus rr. So small m किस चीज के बराबर हो गया? small m is equal to cr plus currency reserve deposit ratio plus 1 over currency deposit ratio plus required deposit ratio. So this is the value of small m. Now we'll continue. Now m is equal to, capital M is equal to small m into b. Now if we just substitute the value of m, which is equal to, small m is equal to cr plus 1 over cr plus rr. Now if the required deposit ratio is less than 1, what will happen to the m? यानी ये जो portion है, ये जो small m की equation में है, this one, if this is less than 1, so what will happen to m? M will be greater than 1. So what happened then? If Monty base changes by delta b, then delta m is equal to m into delta b. M is the money multiplier, right? Here in this equation, m into b, m is the money multiplier. Now if we apply change on both sides, delta m is equal to, if monetary base change by delta b, then what will happen? Delta m is equal to small m into delta b. Small m is the called money multiplier. So why we call this a money multiplier? So there is an exercise for you, there is a question for you, right, जो कि आपने घर में करना है. I will try to provide you solution of this also. Suppose m is equal to m into b, where m is equal to cr, as we know that credit deposit ratio plus 1 divided by credit reserve ratio plus reserve deposit ratio. Suppose households decide to hold money for their money as a currency, of their money as a currency. Suppose household decide to hold more of their money as a currency and less in the form of demand deposits. तो हम suppose करते हैं कि assume कर रहे हैं इस exercise में, क्या assume कर रहे हैं कि if the household decide to hold more of their money as a currency with themselves and less in the form of demand deposits, कि क्या वो कम money बैंक में जमा कराते हैं और ज़्यादा पैसा अपने पास hold करते हैं. This is what we are supposing. Now what is the questions? What is the question for you? That is, determine impact on money supply, how this affect the money supply in the country and the economy. Number 2, explain the intuition for your results. So what are the intuition of your result? What is the recommendation? What is the implication of your finding of your result? Now the solution of this question is impact of an increase in the currency demand deposit. What will happen? Delta CR, currency demand ratio. CR is the currency demand ratio. अभी हमने पिछली स्लाइड में हमने बात की, CR क्या है? CR is the currency demand ratio. क्वेश्चन क्या था कि अगर हाउस होल्ड करेंसी होल्ड ज़्यादा करता है और लेस डिपॉजिट्स करता है बैंक के साथ, तो क्या होगा? इम्पैक्ट ऑफ इंक्रीज इन द करेंसी डिमांड रेशियो, that is delta CR is positive. It has an impact on, it increases, an increase in CR increases the denominators. अगर आप इक्वेशन देखें, इक्वेशन में क्या था? If we come back to the equation was m is equal to, m किस चीज के बराबर है? CR plus 1 over CR plus RR, right? Now what is the question? if there is an increase in CR credit deposit currency deposit ratio में इजाफा होता है तो क्या होगा? इंक्रीजिंग डिनोमिनेटर जो है, नीचे वाला जो डिनोमिनेटर है वो क्या होगा? बढ़ जाएगा, बिकॉज आप देखो उसमें आर भी एड अप हो रहा है. सो इंक्रीज द डिनोमिनेटर ऑफ m proportionally more than the numerator. So the increase in denominator क्या है? ये denominator is equal to CR plus RR. इसमें जो increase होगा that increase will be more than, ऊपर वाला numerator भी बढ़ेगा because CR में इजाफा हुआ है. So we said that if there is an increase in CR which is currency deposit ratio, अगर उसमें इजाफा होता है तो what will happen to small m which is the money supply multiplier, उसको क्या होगा, क्या इफेक्ट होगा उस पे, राइट? हमने ये कहा कि जब CR बढ़ता है which is the currency deposit ratio, जो डिनोमिनेटर है उसमें भी इजाफा होगा, न्यूमरेटर में भी इजाफा होगा, बट the proportional increase in denominator will be more than the numerator. So what will happen? M will fall. जो मनी मल्टीप्लायर है उसमें क्या होगी? कमी वाक़ होगी. तो क्या रिजल्ट निकलेगा? So the effect of decrease in multiplier will be the effect on money supply. So money supply will also fall, right? So what we said that if there is increase in the currency reserve currency deposit ratio, यानी कि अगर लोग हाउस होल्ड अपने पास पैसा ज्यादा रखते हैं और दे डिपॉजिट लेस विद द बैंक्स, दे हैव लेस डिपॉजिट्स इन द बैंक्स, तो क्या होगा? उससे जो मनी मल्टीप्लायर है m स्मॉल जो m है उसमें कमी वाक़ हो जाएगी. जब मनी मल्टीप्लायर में कमी वाक़ होगी तो व्हाट विल हैपन देन? क्या होगा? मनी मल्टीप्लायर में कमी वाक़ होगी तो ओवरऑल जो मनी सप्लाई इकोनॉमी में उसमें भी कमी वाक़ हो जाएगी. व्हाट इज द इंट्यूशन ऑफ दिस रिजल्ट? व्हाट इज द इम्प्लीकेशन ऑफ दिस रिजल्ट? इफ हाउसहोल्ड्स डिपॉजिट्स लेस ऑफ देयर मनी देन बैंक्स कैन नॉट मेक एज मैनी लोन्स, राइट? कि जब बैंक्स के पास पैसा ही कम जाएगा, लोगों ने अपने पास पैसा ज्यादा रखना शुरू कर दिया है इंस्टेड ऑफ डिपॉजिटिंग मनी विद द बैंक्स, तो क्या होगा? banks will have less money with themselves. बैंकों के पास पैसा ही कम जाएगा तो क्या होगा? वो कम लोन एक्सटेंड करेंगे क्योंकि उसका कुछ हिस्सा, जितने भी डिपॉजिट बैंक के पास जाएंगे उसका कुछ हिस्सा फर्दर उन्होंने अपने पास रखना है एज ए रिजर्व, और बाकी जो बचेगा वो लोन एक्सटेंड करेंगे. तो व्हाट विल हैपन? तो बैंक कैन नॉट एक्सटेंड लोन, बैंक कैन नॉट मेक लोन्स if they have less deposits. So the banking system won't be able to create as much money as they want. तो इफेक्ट क्या होगा? हमने एक पैरामीटर का इफेक्ट देखा है कि हमने क्या देखा कि उसका इफेक्ट क्या होगा? जब लोन नहीं बढ़ा सकेंगे तो नेचुरली जो इफेक्ट होगा मनी सप्लाई नहीं, बैंक्स मनी सप्लाई को क्रिएट करने में कोई रोल प्ले नहीं कर सकते हैं. तो मनी सप्लाई विल नॉट चेंज, मनी सप्लाई विल रिमेन सेम. So what we can conclude that if there is a change in currency deposit ratio, अगर ये बढ़ जाती है तो क्या होगा? मनी सप्लाई में कमी वाक़ हो जाएगी, मनी सप्लाई कम हो जाएगी. एंड वाइस वर्सा, अगर करेंसी डिपॉजिट रेशियो कम हो जाती है, if people hold less money with themselves and deposit more with the banks, what will happen? The banks can make loans to the borrowers, to the customers. In this way the banks create, or the banking system create the money supply in the country and the economy. This was the one variable. Second, reserve deposit ratio, RRR, that is the amount of money which banks keep with them as a reserve out of their deposits. Now if this RR goes up, what will happen? देखें, इसी को आगे बढ़ाते हैं. M हमारे पास क्या है? M is equal to CR plus 1 over CR plus RR. Now if RR goes up, क्या होगा? मनी मल्टीप्लायर को क्या होगा? ये बढ़ता है तो क्या होगा? ओवरऑल आपका मनी मल्टीप्लायर क्या होगा? मनी मल्टीप्लायर बढ़ जाएगा तो मनी सप्लाई इकोनॉमी में बढ़ जाएगी, राइट? and vice versa. So there are different action or different policies that can be introduced by the State Bank of Pakistan or by the Federal Bank of any country or by the individual commercial banks of the countries. So this was all about today's class, students. I finished my lecture here today. Before finishing my lecture, I just summarize so what we have learned in today's class. आज हमने क्या सीखा? We started to discuss an important variable, important parameter of macroeconomics, which is about the money and money supply and money demand. And as I told you in the beginning, we have divided this chapter into 2 lectures. आज के लेक्चर में हमने कुछ हिस्से पे बात की और कुछ जो है हम इसको कंप्लीट करेंगे अगले लेक्चर में. आज के लेक्चर में हमने स्पेसिफिकली जिसकी बात की कि हाउ बैंक्स creates money supply in the country and the economy. किस तरह से banking can play an important role to create money or money supply in the country. इस चीज को डिस्कस करने के लिए हमने 2 बैंकिंग सिस्टम की बात की आज. First we talked about 100% reserve banking system. Second, fractional reserve banking system की बात की. And we tried to explain these 2 types of banking systems in terms of with the help of different scenarios. First, when we discussed, we have discussed the 100% reserve bank system. We said that if suppose C currency is money supply, M is currency is 1,000 US dollar. So what is the money supply in that case? As we said that in 100% reserve system, all of the currency is kept with the bank as reserve, right? तो balance sheet bank की क्या थी जो हमने discuss की? As you know that in a bank balance sheet, on one side we have assets, on the other side we have reserves. Liabilities. Assets क्या हुए? Total $1,000 उसने अपने पास reserve रख ली और liabilities क्या है? 1,000 है. जब 1,000 रिजर्व्स हैं, 1,000 उसकी लाइबिलिटीज हैं, तो डिपॉजिट्स रिजर्व्स क्या सी क्या हो गई? 0. सो इन दिस केस करेंसी इज इक्वल टू मनी सप्लाई इज इक्वल टू डिपॉजिट्स. So 1,000 is equal to 1,000 US dollar. So when we talk about the 100% reserve system, इसमें banks cannot help the economy to create money supply in the country and the economy. उसके बाद हमने बात की सेकंड सिस्टम की, which is the fractional reserve bank system, जिसमें हमने कहा कि banks keep a certain percentage of the deposit as a reserve with themselves and extend the remaining deposits to the loan in the form of loan to the borrowers, to the customers, right? तो उसी एग्जांपल को जिसमें हमने assume किया था कि if the currency available in the economy is 1,000 US dollar and the reserve ratio or the percentage is 20%. If the banks keeps 20% of the currency or the deposits with them as a reserve, so what will happen? How banks create money supply in that case? तो हमने इसकी different possibilities discuss की. Scenario 3 में हमने ये कहा कि 1,000 अगर पैसे हैं लोगों के पास, हाउस होल्ड के पास, वो बैंक में जमा कराते हैं. बैंक की बैलेंस शीट क्या बनती है कि इस $1,000 से 20% वो अपने पास रख लेते हैं, जो कि $200 बनता है, वो बैंक रखता है फर्स्ट बैंक. $800 उसके पास बचते हैं जो कि वो लोन दे देता है बारोवर्स को, कस्टमर्स को. अब जब वो कस्टमर के पास वो $800 पैसे आते हैं एज ए लोन, वो क्या करता है, ये $800 किसी दूसरे बैंक में जाके रख लेता है, राइट? व्हाट द सेकंड बैंक डू विद दैट $800? $800 का वो 20% अपने पास रखता है, 80% एक्सटेंड कर देता है फर्दर लोन, राइट? तो 20% कितना बना था? तकरीबन $160 उसने अपने पास रखे, $640 उसने बाकी आगे लोन दे दिया. अब $640 जिस इंडिविजुअल, जिस हाउस होल्ड के पास एज ए लोन पैसे आए, वो क्या करता है, वो किसी तीसरे बैंक में जाके वो $640 जमा करा देता है. तीसरा बैंक क्या करता है? थर्ड बैंक कीप 20% of that money with itself and extend loan of the remaining amount. So this process continue, and in this way we have seen that with the help of 1,000 US dollar, banks can create 5,000 US dollar money supply in the country and the economy. So by adopting fractional reserve bank system, banks can play a very important and significant role in creating money supply, money in the economy. So we say that we can summarize, fractional reserve bank system creates money because each dollar of reserve generates many dollars of demand deposits. Number 2, the money supply depends on the monetary base, 1, on currency deposit ratio and reserve ratio. तो 3 चीज़ों पे money supply depend करती है कि what is the base, what is the monetary base set by the State Bank of Pakistan or the Federal Bank of a country, what is the currency deposit ratio, how much people hold money with themselves and how much they deposit with the banks, and the third जिस पे money supply depend करती है is the reserve ratio. So students, I stop my lecture here today. We'll continue with this chapter, with this concept in the next class also. Till next time we meet, God bless you. Allah Hafiz.